Teofimo trying to get out of that contract with Top Rank. Now, we know a couple of weeks ago, there was this whole purse bid situation with Teofimo Lopez, where Top Rank only wanted to pay him like $1.2 million for his fight, and he believed that he was worth a whole lot more than that. DAZN was trying to give him $4 million to fight Devin Haney, and he believed a fight of that magnitude, he deserved a whole lot more. You know, and he believed that he could get a substantial amount more money for his mandatory fight than what was being offered to him. You know, so he went out there and he set up his game plan. Everybody was talking about how, oh, he's not going to get this. He needs to take that $4 million to fight Devin and this and that, and he can't get any more than that. Where is he going to get any more money than that? And it turns out, you know, they had something in the back going on with Triller, who bid on the fight, and he's going to make $4 million off that fight, and the possibility of making even more. You know, so him and his team clearly knew what they were doing when it came to that situation. Now they're talking about how, you know, they're possibly going to take Top Rank to court, and that he's going to soon get out of his contract. And everybody again is coming out talking about, oh, how's he going to get out of his contract? He's not going to get out of his contract. He's still signed for 3.5 years. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? You know, and they're going by, you know, that train of thought and that method of thinking. But what I always like to do is, you know, once somebody shows me that they're capable of doing something, you know, at that point it's like, okay, you know, let's sit back. Even if I might have, you know, questions, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna see what happens. I remember with the Canelo Alvarez situation with him and DAZN and Golden Boy, and when he took Golden Boy and he took DAZN to court, and everybody was saying the same thing. Oh, he's not gonna get out of that contract. He's stuck. There's nothing that he can do. And this was the talk that was going on. And then I remember when the case had kind of been thrown out where they needed to refile it a different way. And everybody's like, oh, look, the case got thrown out. There's no chance of him winning this case. And I'm thinking to myself, I've seen, you know, cases go to the Supreme Court and get thrown back down where you had to readjust or change things. I was like, that stuff like that happens. It's not a big thing. You know, and we don't know what's in that contract. They're not showing him that contract for a reason. Golden Boy's not showing him that contract for a reason. DAZN's not showing him that contract for a reason. So we don't know what's in there. We don't know if there's things in there that violate the Ali Act or what's going on when it comes to that. And what happened? He ended up being released from that contract. Golden Boy's not getting that 30% they were getting from him anymore. And he was able to make a deal pretty much kind of like directly with DAZN. And he's getting paid off that now, you know? So when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, it's a situation where you kind of got to sit back and say, you know, what exactly did Top Rank do? You know, because Top Rank is talking all this stuff about how, oh, they have to go back to him, and he signed to them for 3.5 years, and this and that. First of all, he's not signed to them for 3.5 years. I believe under the Ali Act, the longest you're able to sign somebody is 2 years, 24 months. What happens is usually when it's, you know, time for the fighter's last fight, they'll make them sign an extension. They'll do extensions after, you know, that starts pretty much after that, whatever. And that's how they get around that, just by doing extensions. Or if you get this, you know, they get a, you know, certain amount of things, whatever. It can trigger other things or whatever. But for the most part, 24 months. Like if you want to sit out, you know, you have a contract and you want to sit out, the amount of months is 24 months. And usually you can get out of your contract after that. You know, so when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, it could be the same kind of situation. Worst case scenario, you know, and he's young. So if he decides to go that route, this is the time to do it when you're young. A lot of fighters, they usually do it when they're later on, late 20s, early 30s. That's when they do this type of thing. Try to get out of their contract when they're in a situation like this with a Top Rank. If he gets out of it, he's able to get out of it and do it now, early in his career, you know, kudos to him. But he might be able to get out of it in the next couple of months or within the next year, just due to the fact that if, you know, there's you know, rumblings and rumors that Top Rank was trying to get these different entities not to bid on that fight. They were trying to get those entities not to bid on that fight. If that's the case, he might be able to get out of that contract. I'm sure there's probably provisions or whatever that's in that contract where by them doing that could possibly void the contract. You know, it's probably some kind of, there might be some kind of legal things that's set up in things maybe like the Muhammad Ali Act, like the Ali Act, that when you do certain things like that, could void your contract. You know, we have to see. And if that's the case, remember also, Top Rank is tied to ESPN. They're one entity, basically, at this point. You know, ESPN basically, they pretty much bought the rights to freaking Bob Arum and Top Rank at this point. You know, for a substantial amount of years, like 7 years or something like that. So, if Teofimo was to file a suit, he only wouldn't be suing Top Rank. You can sue ESPN too, and get ESPN caught up into something that they don't want to get caught up in. You know, you can cause, you know, ESPN drama that they don't want and they don't need. So it might be a situation where they tell them, like, yo, you better dead that. Let that boy go. You know, we're not going to, you know, get involved in all this BS. You got to get rid of this and get rid of it now. Kind of like with the Manny Pacquiao situation. Even though Manny Pacquiao's contract was over, Bob Arum kept harassing Manny Pacquiao and the people that Manny Pacquiao was trying to work with. Every time he tried to set up a bout, you know, Bob Arum's attorneys or lawyers would contact these people saying that, hey, if they do a fight with them, they're going to file a suit against them and this and that. And that, like, you know, Manny Pacquiao still signed to them as a fighter. And it was keeping Manny Pacquiao from doing the things that he wanted to do. Manny Pacquiao signs with Al Heyman. First thing Al Heyman has him do is, okay, go file a lawsuit. We're going to file a lawsuit right away against Top Rank. I'm going to file a lawsuit against ESPN, you know, due to the fact that they're, you know, harassing you and they're keeping you from, you know, doing business the way that, you know, you should be able to do as somebody that's free from them as an entity. Bob Arum and ESPN, you know, they shut that stuff down boop, boop, right away. All that harassing, all that pushing, they cut that off right away. Immediately, because they didn't want to go through that stuff. I know ESPN definitely didn't want to go through all that stuff. You know? And that was the end of it. So, I understand that Teofimo talks crazy a lot. He talks wild a lot of times. You know, but a lot of things that, you know, he says usually ends up being what it is. Like, I remember when he was talking about how, yo, I'm going to jump out of this WBC thing. I'm going to fight, you know, Comey. I'm going to fight for the IBF championship. And I'm still going to be able to fight from that WBC championship and these other belts without, you know, having to, you know, be in that tournament. I'm going to work smarter, not harder. And, you know, and that's what actually did happen. You know, he said he was going to get this, you know, going to be able to get more money than what these people were offering him for his fight, for his mandatory fight. That's what happened. You know, so at this point, you got to sit back. Regardless of what you believe, you got to sit back and see what exactly happens, because we don't have all the information of exactly what Bob Arum and what Top Rank was doing in this situation. And because they're tied to ESPN, certain things that they might have been able to get away with before, they're not necessarily going to be able to get away with it now. It's because you're not just putting dirt on your name. You're just not making yourself look bad. You're also making ESPN look bad. They might not want that, you know, and they might not want to have to get their attorneys and their lawyers to have to, you know, deal with, you know, a court case as it pertains to that kid. You know, so like I always say, you know, we'll sit back, let him have his fight with Trilla, you know, and we'll see what happens after that. But don't just brush it off, the fact that, you know, of him getting out of this contract, because don't get it twisted, he might have reasonable cause for that to happen. But for now, like, subscribe, share, I'm out.